Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of We Are Legion Live. Tonight we have joining us Jack Gill.
Hey
How's it
Bill,
going?
how's it going, buddy?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. Uh,
Good.
uh, why don't you start off and tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Jack Gill. I'm a singer, songwriter, hailing from Liverpool in the UK. Just looking to make my way in this world of rock and roll. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Your accent. Are you actually from Liverpool? Or are you from more Scotland, Ireland area?
No, we do get that quite a lot from Americans. I'm from Liverpool, yeah. So I've got what they call a thick.
Well, I guess Liverpool's right up there, kind of close to Scotland, anyways. Yeah, so kind of like a little bleed over. All right.
Yeah, I haven't got my kilt on to say the least.
I have Irish ancestry, so yeah, I can get down with the kilt and stuff. So
Yeah.
no problems there. Um, so I was listening to your stuff earlier today, and I don't know what kind of vibe you were trying to go for, but with the interesting mix of the harmonica and stuff, and your vocals, it was kind of like Billy Joel meets Tom Petty, and they were like just jamming together, and I thought it was very interesting and very cool.
Yeah, I appreciate that. The Tom Petty thing is something that's been compared quite a lot.
Your vocal style is very comparable to Tom Petty's. I
Yeah,
got that a lot, and but I was listening. Here I got it. I was listening with me. I was listening to with me, and the beginning of it kind of reminded me of Piano Man. The beginning, the harmonic at the beginning of Piano Man, and then you come in with your vocals sound like Tom Petty. It was like Piano Man meets you don't know how it feels. That's what
yeah,
kind of vibe that I got, and it was just really cool. And um,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Thank you.
I was really digging it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. As you've said, it's been compared to Tom Petty quite a lot. This latest single, which is massive for me, as I'm a massive fan. A lot of it as well as with this latest release, it's been compared, quite a bit of Americana. So that style of music, sort of the Tom Petty's, the probably sort of the Desire era Bob Dylan stuff as well. Um,
Hmm.
which, in all honesty, that was the vibe I was going for, and that is sort of the sound which will be shaped for me personally from sort of future releases too. So, yeah, thank
Okay.
you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, I was really enjoying it. Uh, so, is that who your inspirations were growing up in music? Was the Tom Petty's and the Bob Dylans and stuff like that, or did you have a?
Yeah, so it was a strange one really. So, of course, being from Liverpool, you grow up on the Beatles, of course, as most people do. So,
Yeah.
from an early age, from parents, I was introduced to the Beatles. So, growing up on that style of music, it was only going to progress from there onto other things. And once I started finding myself musically, yeah, so like Bob Dylan, massive influence on me. Probably my favourite artist of all time, in all honesty. Likes of Freewheel and Bob Dylan and stuff for me is just unbelievable lyrically. But yeah, and then as it progressed, it went into sort of Tom Petty and sort of that era of music as well. So 70s era sort of rock and roll for me is probably the peak of all time music in my opinion. So for me, it's about getting that sound across and bringing that style of music back. So all those artists that I've grown up and grown to love over the years, it's about putting that sound across in my music.
Yeah, and from what I've heard, you've done a real good, you've done an excellent job of that. I mean, like I said, you were bringing late '70s, early '80s kind of feel to that music, and it was pretty awesome. Uh, we got a few people on here. Matter of fact, why don't we go ahead and I'll go ahead and play with me right now
Yeah.
your newest release, and let them decide for themselves. The people who are listening.
Yeah, man.
Look into the mind of your third eye. Open up the door to what's inside. Let you believe that you won't see. Unlock the power, set yourself free. Yeah. Rivers and waterfalls are waiting for you. Much more to beg when you do. Light up together, we'll all get high. Started from the bottom, meant for the sky. Yeah. Come fly with me, take a ride with me, see the stars with me. Yeah, yeah. Come fly with me, take a ride with me, see the stars with me. Yeah, yeah. How many times will a man fall? He dirty seas to jump in and answer the call. Set himself free from the shackles of mind. Lift his head and open his eyes. Yeah. Come fly with me, take a ride with me, see the stars with me. Yeah, yeah. Come fly with me, take a ride with me, see the stars with me. Yeah, yeah. We are one together, we are free. There's a life together, life of you and me. We are one together, we are free. Live a life together, a life of you and me. Come fly with me, take a ride with me, see the stars with me. Yeah, yeah. Come fly with me, take a ride with me, see the stars with me. Yeah, All right, so that was your new one with me, and you said you're gonna be that style kind of moving forward with your music.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, there's another track that's sort of on all the platforms called Sky High, which is pretty similar in sound as well. In all honesty, it's probably a little bit more folky, um, but yeah, that is sort of the sounds over sort of lockdown. I have like a sort of a portable studio at home, as well as sort of mics and bass guitars and stuff like that. So I was able to experiment with the music, and that was the sort of sound that I came up to. So one of the benefits of the obviously the terrible time that we've all had over the last 12 to 18 months was that I was able to find that sound, which is of course a good positive to take going forward.
Yeah, I don't know how much you like do collabs, but we had a guy on probably a month or so ago who has kind of that same type of sound. Orange G1 is his handle on
Okay.
Twitter. Uh, I think. you guys could, if you did collab, you guys could come up with some really awesome stuff going forward. There, he's a really good harmonica player and stuff. So,
Oh,
uh,
nice.
and
Yeah.
he plays a lot of different instruments. But if that's the sound you're looking for going forward, I think that's an excellent choice. And it kind of just throws me back in time and just makes me just I just want to chill out and just sit back and listen to the music and and
Yeah.
just hear what you're saying, and you don't get a lot of that sound any as much anymore. And I really miss it, and I don't know how we got so far away from that type of sound, but
Yeah, it's crazy. It's nothing is sort of unique anymore, is it? Everything's manufactured,
mhm,
so every sound is the same, and it's the same here in the UK. A band from Scotland called the Snuts have just reached UK number one. That's the first time in God knows how long that an indie band has reached the number one sort of
mhm,
start. So hopefully there may be a change on the front. But yeah, absolutely, I agree with you completely. Even so-called rock music nowadays is not rock music anymore, is it?
mhm.
It's that manufactured
Yeah,
thing that sounds pretty much the same as everything else at the moment.
yeah, and you mentioned that it was the first time in a long time that indie bands reached number one in the UK, which is completely just surprising to me because I have a large following over in the UK, and I talk to a lot of really great artists from
Yeah,
over in the UK, and to hear that just that this is the first time in forever that indie band's reached number one is just blows my mind
yeah.
because of the amazing amount of talent that comes from over there.
Yeah, it's crazy and it's a shame. What you'll find over here is that with a lot of sort of the local radio stations, especially, there's a certain sort of narrative where you could imagine that they're looking at a tick list, and if one of those ticks doesn't go into the box, then they won't play the music basically. And as you
Mm-hmm.
said, there's so much good music that's going under the radar, unfortunately, which is people such as yourselves really help artists that are up and coming too as well, because you help us reach that global audience, and especially stateside. So I've been sort of taking you can look at sort of the streams and where they're coming from, and a lot of my streams are coming from the US, which is massive. So sometimes you've just got to think outside the box and maybe go somewhere else if it's not quite working where you are.
Yeah, and I mean, with the sound that you have, and I mentioned earlier, I don't doubt at all that a good portion of your following is here in the United States,
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
especially on the East Coast where Petty and Billy Joel are from.
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah. It's nice as well. It's because, as I've said, that is the style of music that I'm going for, and to see it actually boiling over and reaching those people who are probably more likely to enjoy it. I mean, it's a great feeling as well, and it only it sort of, to quote one of the arguments, it sort of sparks the fire as well to continue making that style of music, continue on the path, because it shows that something is right with it. You know what I mean? Which is good.
Yeah, and I've noticed, especially the ones that been interviewing here lately, that there's a greater group of artists now that are going back and reaching back for more of that retro vibe with the music than there is with going forward with the
Yeah,
new age stuff, which is good because, like I said, I grew up 80s, 90s, and that time frame. I got brothers that are 7 and 9 years older than me, so I got a lot of different. Oh, my taste in music was a little bit older than the people that I grew up with,
yeah,
and so hearing those influences in your music, when I first turned it on, I was like, wow, this it just really put a smile on my face, and I was like, I was happy to listen to it. I wish I would have started listening to it earlier, and got to listen to more of the songs beforehand.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. That's the whole point. In interviews, I've said sort of in the past with interviews and bloggers that the whole idea behind with me was to put a smile on people's faces, and you saying that just only validates that.
Yeah, it absolutely did that, and I'm so glad that you could join us. I wish I would. I didn't know you were over in the UK. We would have done this earlier, or done it like on a Saturday or Sunday, where we could have done it more towards the middle of the day, my time, and early evening your time.
It's no, it's fine. Don't worry. I mean, it's more sort of it's Friday night, Saturday morning here,
Yeah,
and sleeping patterns are pretty much out the window over the last 12 to 18 months.
but yeah, I got that. I know that feeling. You guys are back on kind of like a lockdown, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah. So pretty much, if Monday coming, it actually starts to hopefully return back to normal. So things like non-essential shopping is back open, pubs, that sort of thing, restaurants, but still, it's still pretty strict with regards to groups. It can only be groups of 6, that sort of thing. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's not ideal, but it's getting back to hopefully where we were, because ourselves probably more so than anyone have made an absolute mess of it, in all honesty. So and we're paying for it now. I mean, how about you guys? How's it over in the States?
We got some spots that are really opening up. They've just full on just went. We're just opening everything back up, and then we got some spots that are gradually getting there. The more and more people get vaccinated,
Yeah,
but yeah, there it's basically depending on where you are in the country. I'm kind of in the middle between Kansas and Missouri, and Missouri's opening up a little bit faster than Kansas is, but they're gradually they pretty much follow the same page, but we're not near like Florida or Texas that just said we're opening everything up.
yeah,
They pretty much are letting businesses decide whether they're going to require masks and things like that inside
yeah,
for businesses, but it's starting to feel a little bit more like getting back to normal, like it was before the pandemic hit.
yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? It's been a crazy sort of 12 to 18.
Uh,
Just
oh yeah, well, I was uh, I was over in Poland right before they just started shutting everything down. We left the day before they shut Germany down, and 2 days before they shut Poland completely down. So we barely got out of there.
wow.
We flew from Poland. We flew to Frankfurt and then back to the States, and yeah, we just barely got out of there before they started shutting everything down for the pandemic. And
Yeah, it's just, if somebody would have told, it's cliche, but if somebody would have told you this, what, 2 years ago, you'd never believe them, would you? That
oh no, I would have said no. You're completely crazy. And matter of fact, when they started shutting restricting travel and stuff, I told some people at work, I was like, they're going to shut everything down. And
yeah,
oh, you can't shut everything down.
yeah, yeah,
Well, they shut everything down.
yeah, yeah.
And
That was that was it, wasn't it? It's like it was gradually happening, and you could see where it was going eventually.
yeah,
But yeah, I understand people probably not really wanting to believe it's happening, because it's been tough, hasn't it, to say the least. But hopefully we're now sort of heading back to some form of normality. And of course, music industry, one of the worst hit.
oh, absolutely, yeah. Not just musicians, but everybody in the music industry, all the people that
Yeah,
go into to putting on the shows has been just devastated by all this.
exactly. Yeah,
Uh, we had a. I was just the last couple of days. I've been focusing on raising money for a classic rock. rock and roll venue in Nashville that they were gonna sell and turn into a hotel, uh, because they could when they were trying to raise money to save the venue. And so I've been really pushing forward. Well, they've reached the goal that they set on GoFundMe, but uh, it's still kind of up to the developer if they want to accept the bid or not. And but you're losing venues, you're losing so much history by
That's
losing
it.
some of these venues. I mean, it's just completely it's disheartening to me because I'm a lover of live music,
Yeah.
and that's my favorite form of consuming music is just sitting down, just chilling out, listening to it live. And when you lose a classic venue like that, it
Yeah.
it kind of hits you deep, and it's a scar that don't heal too easy.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. The last thing you want, isn't it, is to lose those venues and to be turned into something like you said, like a hotel, because it, it dies a little bit more, doesn't it? The music that you love and the type of music when you lose those type of
Mhm.
venues. I'm guessing as well, Nashville, there must have been some history in that venue as well.
Oh, it's I mean it's been there for 50 years, and they had let me see if I can't pull it up. They had a wall inside the venue that all the bands that had played there uh, had been signing the wall. And I mean, you have like REM, the Guess Who, the Black Crows. They've had Tom Petty, Hank Williams Jr., Linda Ronstadt, Willie Nelson, the Verve Pipe, Dan Fogelberg. Uh, let's see, the Indigo Girls.
Wow.
Those are just some of the bands that I can read. 10,000 Maniacs, Kansas.
It's a
I
big
mean,
yeah, it's
there's been some major acts that have played there, and they were just going to wipe it off the map and make a hotel out of it, which is sad because most people when they think of Nashville, they think of country music, and but this is a rock bar in the middle of Music City. All right, it's one of the only real rock venues that they had, and they were
yeah.
just gonna completely wipe it off the map for a hotel. And no, I'm glad they reached their GoFundMe goal,
Yeah,
and
it's sad
hopefully
to
they
think.
can.
How can you just let all that history just disappear into
Yeah, I mean,
nothing?
just
Do you know what I mean?
no, I was like that. It just baffles me. But politicians and stuff like that, they just looking for progress, and they're looking at where they can get the dollars at. And
That's it. And I mean, given obviously the circumstances at the moment, it, they're more likely to get the go ahead off probably the general voting public as well. That's
yeah,
if they're saying it makes money for the city, which is what it would need, then unfortunately people are more likely to give the go ahead on things like that. It's something that happened quite similar. As I said, where I'm from in Liverpool, it was a place called Zanzibar. Um, Again, that had loads of history. It had the likes of like it used to do sort of random sets. Like one example of it was Noel Gallagher did a just a random acoustic set in there.
mm-hmm.
That's just one of the sort of the big hitters. And again, that closed just before the pandemic. Luckily enough, that was just going to get turned into sort of a generic sort of student bar. Luckily enough, somebody stepped in and bought it, and they're going to sort of keep it open as a music venue. But yeah, you can't lose those places, can you? Because it's what makes it's what makes the city as well, isn't it? And when people come to visit, and there's always live
to
music on and stuff like that, which is we can't lose it. You know what I mean? It's something that we need to keep going.
to me, that's historic. I mean, that would be like them going in and wanting to tear down the Grand Old Opry,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
build the hotel, and you're like, what? No, I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah,
And I know it's not near as big as the Grand Old Opry is to country music, but still, I mean, you heard some of the bands that
yeah,
played there. I mean, and that's a ton of history, and you just, I mean, just to try to wipe it off the map like that is kind of sad in my book.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you there. It's more thought needs to go into this, and as we were saying before, with sort of the music scene being like very manufactured and stuff like that, that only adds credence to that. It's if you lose those venues, you lose those people wanting to play there, so people making that style of music and people being unique, and then you're just going
Mm-hmm.
to be left with the arena type sort of artist where everything's the same. It's more about the show than the music and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's massively important, those little types of music venues, and to keep it going, isn't it?
During the pandemic, have you got to go out and do any type of gigs anywhere, or you've been?
Yes. No, so no, so luckily enough, there was a period in the UK where it was essentially between the end of June and October, where it wasn't exactly all back to normal, but things like bars and small music venues were open. So luckily enough, I was actually one of the there was not many, if any, artists in Liverpool who managed to put a gig on, which I managed to put one on in August. So it was a socially distanced type gig. It
Mm-hmm.
turned out pretty well in the end. It wasn't as a normal gig where the reason people go is to get involved and in the mix, isn't it? And sort of jumping about and singing and stuff like that. So we weren't able to do quite that, but it still went pretty well. But yeah, so it's essentially I've had one live gig in 12 months, which is it's a killer. The whole reason you do it is to play live. You know,
Yeah.
the recording and stuff, it obviously comes second for me. For me, it's playing live and connecting with the audience and getting that rush when you're on stage. But as I said, hopefully now we are on the up. We do have a couple of gigs in the pipeline towards sort of the end of summer. So providing everything goes to plan, which it hasn't previously the last 12
Yeah.
months. So um, yeah, hopefully we're back on the up.
Yeah. That I decided a couple months ago that plans of just we're going to throw them out the window for the near future and just hope for the best.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Because
That's it.
because every time that I've been trying to make plans and thinking that we're starting to come to the end of this thing, then we get another spike and things get set back, and yeah.
So
So
what's it like with travel between states over there? Can you pretty much
uh,
anything, or does it depend on where you go?
well, our the CDC just opened pretty much opened up. If you've been vaccinated, you can travel anywhere in the
Yeah,
U.S. We still got some high warnings for like Michigan and the Northeast,
right.
but other than that, travel's pretty much open if you've been vaccinated. So
Okay. And
luckily,
some things
luckily I
pretty.
have been vaccinated. So
All right, good stuff. So you're able to get it, because some places have been. Because I saw like Disneyland and stuff like that. They pretty much been open at a reduced capacity right now.
yeah, they've been open and socially distanced with a reduced capacity. They're gradually letting more and more people in. Uh, the thing now is whether they're going to do like vaccine passports
Yeah,
because here in the states, if you get vaccinated, they give you this little bitty card so you can keep track of your vaccinations on it for COVID, and they were they were wanting to use that like a passport to travel and to go in, but then again, they got a large group of the population who doesn't want to get the vaccine, and
yeah.
so they some states are really fighting it. I don't believe that it should be mandatory to have the vaccine to be able to go in and out of places like that. I mean, once you get to a certain percentage of people, you're actually is what they call the herd.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Because as from what I've been told, that I'm since I've been fully vaccinated, that even if I do catch it, I can't transmit it
Mm.
because of the vaccine. So yeah, I mean, me being and that's the big deal is catching it and not knowing about it and then transmitting it to someone else. And once you can't transmit it, then you should be able to pretty much go and do whatever. But we got to get enough percentage of the population to where they feel comfortable enough. I mean, I would love for it to be to them to open up venues back up to pre-pandemic levels, but
Yeah,
you're going to have to get 70, probably 80, 85% of the population vaccinated before they decide to do something like that.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean it's similar over here in all honesty as well. So there's quite a lot of objection to the mandatory vaccination and sort of, which I agree with yourself. Fair enough. I don't think that it should be sort of forced upon people. And it's similar. They're actually doing a trial event in Liverpool. There's like a techno event going on with a reduced capacity. It's an outdoor event at the end of April. So I think the trial on that to see how that goes and see if there's any upsurge in cases sort of after it. So fingers crossed that hopefully all goes well, and then we can, as you said, get back to getting the live music back.
Well, and I'm really hopeful because we just had what they call spring break here in the States
Yeah,
uh, in March, and people were flocking to like Florida and Texas and stuff like that, where it's warmer for spring break. And it's been several weeks, and there's been no reports of major outbreaks
right.
because of that. And matter of fact, I really haven't heard much of anything about any type of outbreaks. We've got a few uh, hot cells like in the Northeast and in Michigan, like I said. But other than that, even places like California and stuff where it's warm, typical spring break type stuff, there haven't been any huge outbreaks. So that's looking more and more positive there for us.
Yeah, yeah. That's good, isn't it? Hopefully we can all get back to normal.
Yeah, or if we can't get back to 100% normal, at least as close as we can get to what it
Yeah,
was before. Uh, because, like I said, I love live music, and I know you guys love performing. I haven't. The last live show I got to see was in Poland, so that it's been 14 months ago.
yeah,
I got to see a live show here in the States. It's been like 18, 19 months since got to see a live show here in the States. So I'm kind of just like dying to see a live show. And when they started opening restaurants and stuff up to full capacity here, even with social distancing measures,
yeah,
people were just amazed because they were packed. And I was like, I knew that was coming.
yeah, yeah.
As soon as they lift these restrictions, these venues, everything's going to be sold out.
It is. Yeah,
It's going to be standing room only, no matter where you go.
it is. Like as you said. So from Monday over here, the pubs and the sort of clubs are open, but it's only beer gardens, so it's
Mm-hmm.
outdoor areas. So all I'd say is keep an eye on the UK news. You'll probably see lots of people flocking to beer gardens over the next.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I mean, I don't know what they would expect. They've locked everybody down for
Exactly.
almost a year and a half now, and yeah, when they open them up, they're like, I can't believe all these people are just.
I know.
What do you want them to do? They've been locked
Yeah.
away from everybody. They want to be out. Humans are social creatures. They want to be out together. I mean, it's nice being able to talk to someone like this online, but it's nothing like sitting there in a pub, throwing back a couple,
Exactly. Yeah.
chatting with somebody right there. So why don't we take a minute here and I want you to tell everybody where they can find you on social media for one, and what streaming platforms and stuff you run on.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm on pretty much all the social media platforms, the major ones. So Twitter is at Jack Gill Music One. Instagram is Jack Gill Music. Facebook as well falls under that pseudonym. But I'm on like Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, pretty much everything. YouTube too as well. So yeah, check me out on those platforms. And as I say, we've just had the latest release with me, so the next release is penned in for around the end of summer. It's a pretty similar sound, so if you go and check that out and you like what you hear, and you can expect more of that over the next sort of coming months.
Okay. We're gonna play another song. Do you want to play Sky High, or do you have another track that you'd rather me play?
Yeah, if you play Sky High, yeah, as I say, it's pretty similar in all honesty with the style of sound. So yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, here's another one from Jack Gill. It's called Sky High.
As I say, on my own again, I lay back and think about the places I've been. Cast my shore along a riverbed. Those to be mountains that my only friend. See nothing but joy in this room. Soon life is born. Drinking smoking, just a reminisce. Smiling laughter, feelings of bliss. And as the face watches over, the city lights their blind. I know that I feel this way till the end of time. And as the face watches over, the city lights their blind. I know that I feel this way till the end of time. And I sing, I'm sky high, I'm sky high. And I'll sing, I'm sky high, I'm sky high. Sunshine in the sky, feeling that giving me life. For the joy that are both red and blue. It's all the water, all you need to see me through. This place watches over, the city lights their blind. I know that I'll feel this way till the end of time. This place watches over, the city lights their blind. I know that I'll feel this way till the end of time. And I'll say, I'm sky high, I'm sky high. And I'll say, I'm sky high, I'm sky high. And I'll sing, I'm sky high, I'm sky high. And I'll sing, I'm sky high,
That's another really good one. We got people in the audience loved it too. They got people saying it had a U2 vibe, Pink Floyd,
You
kind of a. I mean, I kind of got like the guitar part of it was kind of like a Leonard Skinner Freebird
yeah.
type vibe to it. So yeah, I mean, some really really good stuff. I look forward to hearing a lot more from you all. So you said your next one was coming out when kind of late summer. You said.
Yeah, so it's late summer, early autumn, so we're expecting sort of August, end of September, around that sort of period. So there's a couple of tracks that I've been working on, which I'm really looking forward to getting out there. I mean, similar sort of vibes to With Me. Um, yeah, so I'm really looking forward to getting out there, and I think that like previously, they really appeal to sort of any fan base that I do have stateside. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting those ones out there.
Well, I think the more and more that we can get this played over here on stateside, the bigger and bigger your fan base is going to be because that is uh, you do have a really good chill vibe to the type of music that you play, and it has a retro feel to it, and it's just music that you can just sit back and have a pint to and relax and just enjoy the music. Just kind of clear your mind and go with the flow on everything.
Yeah, that's the idea. So yeah, good stuff. Good to hear.
Yeah. Jamie, who was with the band Deep Fried out of Canada, he said you got a new fan here. So yeah, well, and,
Jamie.
yeah, and my friend Stacy, uh, she lives in Boston. And she seems to be like she's a fan, and Trissette, who lives in Los Angeles, but she's from Australia, she seems to be a fan too. So
Stuff.
yeah, so seems like you already got a few new fans going on right now, and hopefully we can get some more of that played out. I'm getting ready to start doing a 1 hour radio show once a week on radioactiveradio.com, and so if you don't mind, I'd like to play some of your stuff on there as well and get it out. I just want I like to ask because I've got my hand slapped a couple times for doing some copyright things that I didn't know about. Uh, and
Man. Yeah, feel free to play it all wherever you want. As I say.
Okay, run on. And actually, the radio station is based out of England, but it's an internet radio station, so it's global. We'll have a global audience, and uh, hopefully, I can expand that more than the once a week, and get some more of the indie rock and things out there for people to hear. And that's my whole goal, is to get your all's music heard by as many ears as possible, because you have great stuff. And if we were just doing casual conversation with somebody and I dropped your name, they'd be like, who? I'd be like, you haven't heard of him yet? Okay, well, you need to sit down and listen to him, because here stateside, the mainstream radio stations, they play like the same 10, 11 artists over and over again, because that's who the record companies throw their money behind, and they promote the play. And so and there's just so much indie talent out there that people are just so unaware of. And it's great to meet people like you and to listen to your music. And really, that's the reason why I do what I do. I really love doing it. Is helping you all spread the word on your music and helping you grow your fan bases.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. It means a lot. I appreciate it. I mean, I say this all the time. It can't be sort of understated how much guys like yourself help us get out there by doing, the live streams, the radio shows, as you said, the Spotify playlists, curators, those type of people. They They give us that global audience, and they give us that audience that we're maybe not getting because we don't really fit in with the narrative. So thank you so much.
And I don't know if you've taken advantage of it, like on Twitter, where I do the daily streams, where you can just drop your link in there, and everybody retweets it and stuff like that. I mean, those things hit anywhere from 8 to 35,000 people every day.
Yeah, I have. Don't worry, I've taken advantage of that a couple of times. But yeah, no, I've gained sort of, as I say, followers and stuff. Just little things like that. They really do go a long way.
Yeah, and it's really it's really amazing that how the response that I've gotten from people who claim to be music lovers, but then they only listen to the mainstream stuff, and then when they hear acts like yourself and even Deep Fried and Tricette and stuff that aren't the big names that they normally hear on the radio, they're like, "Who's that, man? That's really cool." I was like, "Well, you probably haven't heard of them, but this is where they're at, and here's their links and stuff. Go check them out." And the people have been really responsive to that, especially now with the pandemic and stuff, where everything is pretty much done online, and there's not a whole lot of going out and stuff. It's easier for the indie artists to have their music consumed by a larger audience because of that in itself. So if there was any type of silver lining to the whole thing, that would probably be it. Is it kind of puts you on the same level playing field as the mainstream acts, because they weren't getting to go sell out their arenas either.
Yeah. It's I mean, we're all sort of guilty of it. You listen to what you know, don't you? Like if you're gonna listen to music, you put on something that you know. So it's about, as I said, it's people such as yourself spreading the word and putting it at the forefront of people's minds through like social media platforms, that there are different artists out there. So it really does go a long way.
And I mean, I have a very extensive palette for music. I just love music. I don't care if I hear something. I don't care if it's a guy playing sticks in the corner. If I hear good or he's playing spoons and it sounds good, I'm going to stop and I'm going to listen to it. And but not everybody's like that. Some people are just like staunch. I only listen to this type of music, and
you need to broaden your horizons. I'm the same myself. Like the first sort of genre of music that I ever sort of fell in love with was hip hop. Like the first album I bought was Eminem Marshall Mathers LP. So that sort of tells you that the variation, it's Marshall Mathers to Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon sort of thing. So unless you broaden your horizons, you're doing yourself an injustice in not being able to listen to these unbelievable artists that can cross genres and sort of cross platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if someone actually got a hold of one of my private playlists that I have on like Spotify, they would probably just completely blow their mind, because I'm jumping all over the place. I mean, I'll have Motorhead and then followed by like Elton John and like and then there's some country music thrown in there, and then there's some Americana, and it's just all jumbled together. But that's just the way I mean, I music, and whenever I find a song that I like, I mean, I'll just throw it into a playlist, and I don't have any particular order of it. It makes sense to me. It's kind of like organized chaos to me, but everybody else is like, "What the heck are you doing? You got a hip hop song next to a country song, and then you go into heavy metal." I was like, well,
just how it
is.
is.
My playlist, yeah. But I have a very much respect for the type of music you're putting out, and I can't wait to hear more of it. I know it's getting late and we're kind of running a little long on time, but I'm really glad that you came out tonight. You're more than welcome to come back on the show anytime you want. Just DM me, and like we have been, and we can do it. And yeah, don't feel like you have to schedule around my time. You let me know when you want to come on, and I'll work around your schedule to when it works best for you.
Yeah.
Get closer,
Yeah.
closer to like release of the new music.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe we'll arrange something for sort of around next release date, and hopefully there's been a little bit of sort of gigging and stuff that we can talk about then. But I really do appreciate you, Bill, letting me come on. It's as I say, I've followed you for a little bit of time now, and I enjoyed the live streams as well and getting to know other sort of artists. So yeah, thank you very much. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, and that's what I want to do is I want the people who watch these to kind of get to know the artist, and when you kind of know an artist kind of more on a personal level, when you hear their music, it lets you connect better. I feel it might let you connect better with their music, and that's what it's all about is getting that connection between the artist and the people listening to the music. But it was very much a pleasure having you on. Anytime, anything you need, just let me know. You can DM me, and we'll make it work out. And thank you for coming on. I also would like to say my condolences for the loss of Prince Philip today.
Thank you.
I mean, that's really got to be really tough.
Yeah. Country's in mourning at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, he's been there. Him and the Queen have been together for what 75 years. I mean,
yeah, it's
there's several generations of people who've never known anybody else besides Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip. So
yeah. It's a difficult time for obviously the family, isn't it? So yeah, condolences to the royal family too. But yeah, he's had a long life, hasn't he? So hopefully he's
yes,
enjoyed.
Yeah, I mean, 99 years old. That he's had a.
He couldn't reach 100, isn't it? He would have reached the 100 at some point this year, which is a shame. But still,
Yeah,
99's nothing to sniff at, is it? So
I mean, if I could reach 99, I'll consider myself having a very good run.
yeah, exactly.
I'll be happy with that. Again, thank you for coming on, and we hope to hear from you soon, and especially let me know whenever the new music's coming out. We'll definitely get that blasted out as much as we can, and hopefully get you a lot more followers over here stateside.
Yeah, we'll do.
Some really good stuff.
Yeah, thanks for everyone who's tuned in to watch. But yeah, we'll keep in touch, and I'll speak to you again soon.
Okay. Was there anything else you'd like to say to the audience before we head on out?
As I said, so if you follow me on sort of Spotify and the social handles, so Jack Gill Music 1 on Twitter and Jack Gill Music on Instagram, and keep streaming with me. Let's try and get it on some sort of, just keep it going as long as possible and get as many people hearing and go from there. And then, as I say, hopefully once things back up and running, you know, we can start arranging gigs and sort of take it on from there.
Sounds great. All right. Well, Jack, you have a great evening, and it was very much a pleasure getting to talk with you face to face this evening. And like I said, I hope to hear from you soon.
You too. Take it easy, Bill. Thank you.
You have a good evening.
Yes.
All right, everybody. That was Jack Gill. I hope you go out and stream this stuff. I mean, I really enjoyed it. It gives a little bit of a late 70s, early 80s vibe to it, and kind of threw me back in time, and more just like chill music, and I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to hear some more of it. But thank you all again for coming out. If you please hit the like button on the way out, and if you haven't yet, please hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you will know when I'm going to be on. I don't think I have anybody scheduled yet for next week, so I'm thinking about maybe doing just our first ever open mic night sometime next week. If you have any thoughts on that, you guys can DM me. but I should, unless I can get somebody scheduled for next week, we will probably have an open mic night. Probably say around Thursday, Friday next week. Give people time to kind of prepare for said open mic night, which I think whenever I asked people, it's been a couple weeks, they were really excited about maybe the concept of doing so, and hopefully we can get several good acts on to play some music and maybe hear some new stuff coming up. But until then, you all have a good night, and thank you again for coming out. We will talk to you later.